Hi everyone, welcome to your bloom making. This is a warm-up exercise. I'm showing here what you will need, the materials, your watercolors, your ink, and your water and your brushes. If you have like a napkin or a paper towel on the side, it might help. And here's your bloom designs that you may find on your class platform as well. There's about 8 I'm showing. There's way more, obviously, so do not limit yourself to what I have here. I always, as some of you know, I'm very just brave, intuitive painting. So if there's other designs you want to explore with, go right ahead. Every bloom starts with a ball, a circle, a moon, whatever you want to call it. And so what we're going to do on this page is simply to do some circles and to practice with our design. So this is literally just a practice for you to get to know your medium, to get to just explore with the watercolors. If you put lots of water, usually the pigment gets to be really kind of more a bit vibrant. You get to see that watercolors, they dry really quick, unless you can still see the kind of water on the top. So just experimenting with that, being really, really mindful. When I do this workshop on site, it's really common that it drips. So if you like move your paper, you might have some watercolor ink or watercolor you just drip on the side. So just be mindful of that. And so here I go. I'm just, and just for the sake of showing you guys, I'm just literally, any color goes. So just experimenting with the colors that you're attracted to. And it's a bit, if you've done my dot exercise, it's a bit like that, very meditative, very just calming, doing big bubbles and large bubbles, and having fun with it. So I am not trained. I did not go to art school. So the only way that I got to explore with watercolors is literally like trial and error and see what works, what doesn't, what happens when I do that, what happens when I use that color, what happens when I mix that color. This workshop's not really like focused on mixing at all. And so just explore and have fun with your bubbles. And again, I just use different colors in your actual bloom painting, your bigger piece. I don't recommend using more than 3, maximum 4 colors. And that has to do with balance, and also just to make sense of your garden, because it's so kind of vibrant and colorful that it kind of makes sense, even though we're like doing like, orange and green leaves and red leaves. Like if there's some repetition, the eyes really loves that in a painting. So now I want to start working on the design. I use watercolor on watercolor here. For those of you that do not have the ink, it's not a big deal. Just let the bubble dry, and then you can place, a darker colored paint on top. That's still watercolors. So obviously something like yellow would be probably too light to put on a blue bubble. And then I just showed you, I take my Doppler straight up and I just go over. For those that have the ink, you can do it straight up from the Doppler. You can do this right from the Doppler, or, obviously put it on a plate on the side, which I do later to show you guys. And here, if you put this is my very dirty water, but I just wanted to show you something. So from the Doppler, look what happens. It's really, really cool. So I suggest just working and again, just exploring your medium, exploring what you have. Some of you are quite new working with the ink. So I'll go and do a new design on the red. So here I was going to do and see how it wasn't dry enough, so it kind of expanded all the way, and that's the you know what it does when there's too much water on top, but that's okay. I will salvage it. I'll actually put my ink on a plate and use a brush. So these are, you know, up to you really to use the Doppler. Obviously, when you use the Doppler, you utilize way more of your medium. But here I was going to show you, like I just used a plate and put a little bit of ink on the plate. And then I dipped my brush and then I was going to finish that flower and just salvage it. I really love, you know, when watercolor does its own thing. And I think something that I learned doing so many of these pieces that to let it do its own thing, and you might be surprised, you know, the magic that happens when you do that. So anyways, this is me trying to kind of salvage that bubble. But I go and use the pink, and then I'll use the gold on top, and I'll try another design. And I believe I used the Doppler here. Oh, I used the white. So just there I go. And that one too, I could use my brush. So it's really up to you. You have to be mindful. Sometimes the Doppler, like a lot comes out all at once. And this one is just a spiral on top. And I will keep experimenting. Lots of contrast colors work well together. So that would be like blue and red, purple and yellow, orange and blue too. And the blooms really love contrast. And we have a couple more bubbles here. So I'll use another. This is a really popular one. I use that one a lot in my blooms. So kind of circly, really quick on my hand. Okay, and I'm just continuing now. All right, now I'll go and practice my stems. I get this question all the time on site. Do my stems and leaves have to be green? No, blooms just love, you know, colors. So your stems can be, they can be green, but they can be blue, they can be red, orange, purple, whatever. And something that I will mention in the Zoom recording is that to keep the flower patterns the same. So for example, like that big purple flower, so I will create, the same stem to that purple flower so that there's a pattern and it makes sense to the eye. And on this warm-up, I can just, because we have the space here and we have the bubbles, you can just practice with the stems and just start that work too. Although in the second warm-up exercise, we'll do a bit more stems as well. Okay, have fun with this. Bye.